All right, guys. Yay! Welcome to the streamers out there. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're going to enjoy today. So who was in Northridge yesterday? Only a couple of you guys. Okay, so yesterday we signed a bunch of people up. You guys all know here at HomeSmart, wherever it is, we have access to the David Knox videos, right? It's a free subscription for you. There's 350 plus videos. And yesterday we were going to train on some beginner stuff, and then I just got a wild hair at my whatever you call it, and I said, you know what? Let's work on some luxury training, because who in the room would like to make $25,000, $30,000 commissions? Yeah, so welcome. If you look at my website, you'll see properties that start at $3 million and then they slowly go down. And what I figured out is I love selling luxury property, and I like the bigger commissions. And quite frankly, the people that can afford multi-million-dollar homes are a lot easier to work with. They've been through the process. They're business people. They understand how life works, and they don't nickel and dime you to death about commission and contracts, and it's just a lot easier lifestyle. So we picked one video, right, guys? That one particular video had probably 15 to 20 tips in a 14-minute video, and I wrote all the list down, and we discussed it after the video. But a 14-minute video out of 350 on here probably is going to change some lives, I would imagine, in here, the things that we went over and wrote down and talked about. So that led us to also talk about a couple things I wanted to show you. In the back end of the system, for me as an admin, there's some accountability plans here. There's the new agent multi-week training, the luxury real estate, Rising Star. Rising Star is powerful. That is for an intermediate agent to go to the next level to be a top producer, which is really cool. The new agent Fast Start, we got 4 or 5 people on that yesterday. I think it's about an 8 or 9 week training course. It goes through all kinds of cool stuff. And then 30 days to a listing. This is for people that are listing challenged or want to just learn more tips and tricks on that. So if you're newer in the business and you go, I want a listing in 30 days, I don't care what it takes, this would be the class for you. So I wanted to at least go over, we got a bunch of newer agents here, so I'll show you the new agent Fast Start, if I can get some internet love. So this is week 1, getting started, administrative tasks. We can go through all these videos here, and then it gives you a list of tasks to do, right? Week 2, open house training, gives you all the videos to watch about being successful at open houses, and then gives you all the tasks to do. Week 3, prospecting and database development. This is the kind of stuff, if you learn in the beginning, your career jump starts right away, and you'll never have any issues. Some of the agents, 3, 4, 5 years in the business, they struggle and they struggle. They've just never gone through a complete course like this. Week 4, sphere of influence, how to go after them, what to do, what to say, what to give them. I mean, this is kind of a lot of videos, but they're all usually under 10 minutes long. And then extra credit for sell by owner. We've done this particular class in this room before, the for sale by owner class, and it has all the tasks included on that. So those of you watching on the internet, or those of you in here, reach out to me or Julie, and we'll register you on these classes. If you haven't done luxury real estate, I would highly recommend you guys send us an email and say, hey, I want to get on the luxury real estate one, because that particular video that I'm talking about is in there, and it's a really good video. We spent a full hour going over luxury and how to take advantage of that. By show of hands, is anybody interested in any of these classes as we speak about them right now? Good. 75% of you. Good. The other 25%, see you at Walmart. So we're talking a lot about health, right? We're talking about, the first week was mindset, and I know individually a lot of you reached out to me and said that was really powerful. And last week, of course, was the diet, health, and different things to avoid cancer. So the reason I'm saying that is over and over so these guys can rewatch it when it goes back up on the website. So recently, I was introduced to Abby, who's standing in the back, who's one of our guest speakers today. And I was fascinated. Actually, Christy Mano sent her to me. Where's Christy? Thank you for that. So Abby and I created a relationship very quickly. And again, as I'm always honest, I'm fascinated by the subconscious mind. Do you guys ever wake up from a dream and say, what the heck? Why would I be thinking about somebody from junior high school that I haven't even talked to in 15 years? That kind of stuff fascinates me. When I was doing a speaking engagement in Orlando when I was selling my property management product, and I had 400 people in the room the next morning, and it was at the top of the Citrus Club in Orlando. It was really scary for me. And Scott, my business partner at the time, he says, here, take my iPod and go to bed with this. And it was hypnosis. And what it was a lot of things to avoid fear and not worry about speaking in public. So I went to bed with this iPod in my ears, and I woke up in the morning. God, that reminds me. They would not let me even go out to dinner. They're like, you stay in your room and listen to this. So I woke up in the morning, and I felt like a whole new person. And I got on that stage and nailed it. We sold $55,000 worth of product in 2 hours. And it was like, wow, that really worked. So ever since then, I've always been a little bit interested in the subconscious mind and hypnotism, or hypnotherapy. Is that how we call it? Getting put under. So recently, I had a couple of sessions with Abby, and right away I can tell some changes in a couple different things. And I'll share a little story with you what was funny and how powerful this is. The first week we were talking about dieting and eating too much and things like that. And she goes, well, let's break it down in baby steps. And I hope it's okay I tell these stories. Okay. So she said, one of the things, she goes, what do you feel after you eat? And I said, guilt, right? Have you ever eaten a whole pizza to your head and felt guilty? Well, I do. Like, I'm this is how sick I am. I'm feeling guilty as I'm ordering it, right? But I still do it. So there's got to be something going on in my subconscious mind. So she goes, okay, let's work on guilt. So I went under the hypnosis, and I guess I woke up, or whatever you call it, and so all the people at our office know I snore. And so I go, all right, no problem. And she recorded it, and I listened to it a couple more times. The problem is, if you work on baby steps and not a few things at the same time, the guilt was gone. So the first week, I ate double what I normally do because I didn't feel guilty anymore. So I go, holy shit, Abby, that worked. Whoops. Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. That was absolutely mind-blowing. So I know the subconscious mind is very powerful. And it took a couple weeks to do whatever we did to where I was able to lose this. Hopefully tomorrow will be 10 pounds. But it's something that I've dealt with my whole life. So between that story of me at the Citrus Club, listening to things in my sleep and my subconscious mind was picking it up and completely changed my outlook on speaking in front of 400 people. So that was a lot of people for me at the time. And then these are the types of things that go, hey, there's a difference between successful people and non-successful people, I think, because they do open their mind, they do dig deeper, and they do consider other options for either therapy or learning or transformation of the mind. And this kind of goes with the first mindset thing. Today we're going to talk about fear of rejection. For real estate agents, fear of rejection is a very real thing. I remember at 19 years old, I wanted to go door knocking, and those were one of the times where I just drove around in circles and circles and said, if I was going to start, that's the house I'd pick to start at. No, I don't want to start there. For an hour later, I'm still nervous about door knocking, and with the bottom line is it's just fear of rejection. I didn't want to have a door slammed in my face. I didn't want a dog to bite me. You know, I didn't want all these things, and I just didn't want rejection. And then there's a couple things we're going to be talking about, but the thing that I'm really super excited about is finding happiness in this business. When her and I were talking about what are some of the things we're going to talk about, this business, this industry that we're in, whether you're Skyline or escrow or real estate agent, on a team or not on a team, there's a lot of things that we don't like about this business. So what I urge you guys today is have a really open mind, and let's find our true happiness in this business. I've been lucky enough to find mine. It's basically listing houses and never talking to anybody again, right? But we do that really good, and we do it a lot. And some of you have known from being in this room, in the last year or so, I've somehow found my happiness in this business and re-energized myself. So after 25 years, most people are sick of their industry, and they just want to retire and go fishing every day. And now that I'm on year 26, I have the same or more passion than I did when I was 19 years old. And it's really interesting to see that. And it's because I found out that I can do the things that make me happy and not do the things that, you know, make me miserable. I don't like photocopying. I don't like uploading photos. I don't like, you know, working on the databases and stuff. All I like to do is sell and talk to people. So I've arranged my business now to where that's all I do. And now I'm like, let's go take over the planet, right? So we're working on expansion teams in Newhall and Northridge and Palmdale, and we're doing things that are totally out of the box. And I blame that a lot on the subconscious mind again and some of the things I've been teaching myself. So you guys ready to get started in this? Hear me? Shut up. So I'll introduce Abby. Come on up, Abby Caruthers. She's a certified hypnotherapist, whatever that is, and I'll let her tell you more about that. But thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I'll get your
oh yes, please.
Your thingabop up.
Got
Is that your thingabop?
Let's see.
We got it? Almost? Hit the thing.
Aha.
Nope. There we
There
go.
we go.
All right, perfect.
Yay.
All right.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me here today. It is such an honor to be able to work with you guys and be here on the streets. I know that you guys are working hard every single day. So what do we say? We help to make that a little bit easier. Yes, who's down for that? Yay! So my name is Abby Caruthers. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. Has anybody ever been hypnotized before? I hear that sometimes. Has anybody never been in hypnosis? Yes. Have you, do you think you're going into hypnosis right now? Anybody? And deep sleep? Just kidding. So don't worry. There's going to be no hypnosis today. Just kidding. You're already in hypnosis. Just kidding. You're not. So today we're just going to be talking about the power of the mind, okay? Why we care about what our mind can do, and how do we control it. Because once you understand the power of the mind, it becomes really, really important to be able to learn how to control your mind. So has anybody ever driven down the freeway and missed your exit? Yeah? That is a state of hypnosis. Has anybody ever gotten to their destination and been like, how the heck did I get here? Yeah? That is a state of hypnosis. Anybody ever watch a movie and laugh, cry, get scared? That's a state of hypnosis. Anybody ever fall asleep? Yes? Only some of you. You guys fell asleep before. Mike, you got to get these guys some sleep aids or something. Anybody ever wake up? Yes? Most of you, like 50-50? Cool. All right, awesome. So all of those things are a state of hypnosis. There is a common misconception that when you are in hypnosis that you are asleep, that you are knocked out, that it is possible to control your mind. But that is just propagated by the media. That is not true at all. Anytime you are daydreaming, you're in a state of hypnosis. Anytime you are focused, you're in a state of hypnosis. So you're in and out of hypnosis all the time, every day. Okay? Now what happens when you're in a state of hypnosis, you're actually incredibly suggestible to your environment. And so that's why we want to be very careful about the people that we surround ourselves with. So my passion is weight loss. I am passionate about weight loss, but we're not going to be talking about that here today. However, I do have a free challenge. It's my Lose 5 Pounds in 10-Day Challenge. It's just via email. So if you're interested in signing up, just your first name and your email address, and I'll go ahead and get you started on that. So today we're going to be talking about understanding the unconscious mind. Is my mind really that powerful? Yes, it is. So let me tell you a story that will demonstrate to you how powerful your mind can be. This story is about Richard. Richard was a regular guy. He worked a regular job. He actually worked down the docks. He worked with refrigerated boxcars. And, you know, he worked hard for his family to make his money, 9 to 5. He just did his thing, right? But the thing about Richard was that he liked to refer to himself as a realist. You guys might know some Richards in your life. You might be Richard. And the reason that he called himself a realist is because he always found the negative. He always found the problems. He always found the black cloud in the silver lining. He was the guy that was just kind of a bummer to be around. All right, so one day the guys decided to go out for a drink. And they invited Richard. Who knows why, but they did. Maybe they were just feeling inclusive. And he remembered that he had to do something in one of the boxcars. So he went down to the refrigerated boxcar after the guys had left to do this final work, and he locked himself in. Now, this is a true story, by the way. He locked himself into the boxcar, and no one was there. Everybody had left. And he screamed and screamed and screamed until his voice was hoarse. And then when he had no voice left, he clawed the inside of the boxcar trying to find a way out. By the way, I'll just let you guys know now this doesn't have a happy ending. Trying to find a way out of the boxcar. And then he resigned himself to death. He was also a very intelligent guy. He was very smart. He knew about the stages of shock. He knew about the stages of hypothermia. Okay? So he sat down, took out a pen and pencil. Nope, just a pen and paper. And he wrote his family a letter, a goodbye letter. And he wrote about, the different stages of hypothermia that he was in. And his handwriting got increasingly more shaky as he started to move into further, deeper stages of hypothermia. And he froze to death. And the next day, the foreman is called over by the police. The police are there doing the investigation. And the policeman asked the foreman, how did he die? And the foreman goes, well, he froze to death. And the policeman says, yes, I know. The coroner gave us that same report. They did the report. They did the investigation. Everything about it says that he froze to death. But, sir, the boxcar was off. It was room temperature. Richard froze to death at room temperature because he made a decision to, because he was smart enough to, because he knew the stages. This really happened. That is how powerful your mind is. It can cause you to die if that's what you choose. So this reinforces, right, taking control of the mind. Nobody wants to freeze to death right now. Plus, it's 105 degrees, so we probably are okay. So what else? If the mind can do that, what else can it do? So it can affect your body, right? So your mind can physically affect your body just based on your belief. What else can it do? Well, there was a doctor called Dr. Misori Emoto who was fascinated with the power of the mind, with the power of energy. And so he did a study on the power of the mind, of words, of music and images on physical environments. The thing that he picked was water. It's a very basic molecule, but it's still scientifically able to be proven. So he did a study on water molecules, and he found some very, very fascinating things out. So what he did was he took water from different parts of the world and he put them into a petri dish, and then he either taped words onto the petri dish, or he had someone project energy onto it, just by thinking, right? Just thinking, projecting energy onto it. Or he played music, or he showed it pictures. And the astounding thing is that those things that never touched the water changed the molecular structure of it. It was fascinating. So here, this is water from the Fujiwara Dam. It's polluted. And this is the same water after it had been blessed by a Buddhist monk. Here, we have water that were exposed to the words, thank you. And there is the same water exposed to the words, you disgust me. This was water that heard the song Amazing Grace, and that was water that it was exposed to heavy metal. That makes sense to me. So that brings up a really interesting consideration, right? Because 60% of our own bodies are made up of water, right? So what are your thoughts doing to your body? Now, let's take it one step further. Okay, so your thoughts can do that to your body. It can change physical environments around you. Can your thoughts affect other people? Yes. Can I have a volunteer? Some of you might be sitting there thinking, it sounds a bit woo-woo. Prove it. So, who would like to volunteer for me? Yes, I knew it. Yay! Let's give a round of applause. Eddie. All right, so what I'm going to demonstrate for you is a line of kinesiology. Kinesiology, this is called specifically muscle testing. This is used by a lot of chiropractors and acupuncturists to figure out what, oh no, we're not going to be doing any pins or anything, to figure out what supplements they need to give to their patients. Because the body, in all of its innate wisdom, knows what strengthens it and what weakens it. It's really fascinating. So go ahead and just put your arm out straight. Actually, like a little bit of an angle. Okay, good. Lock your shoulder. Good. Hi, thanks for volunteering. So tell me what your name is.
Edgar?
Edgar, yes. Eddie for short?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to test. So what I want you to do is I just want you to resist as I push your arm down, okay? Resist. Okay, good. Resist. Good. So hi, your name is Eddie.
Yes.
You don't like that. Your name is Edgar.
Yes.
There we go. Is your name Eddie? Resist. Oh, he doesn't like being called Eddie, guys. Your name is Sue. Resist. No, your name is not Sue. Your name is Edgar.
Yes.
Resist? Yeah. Okay, good. So, hey, that's a really nice shirt that you're wearing today. Resist? Very good. But I actually don't think that you're very smart. Resist? So you guys can see. Okay, so now we're going to do a little experiment. Okay, can everybody see that? Can you read it? Read your instructions. Nope.
Oh.
Okay. So go ahead. Now, do it. Isn't that interesting? Okay, good. You did great. Nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, now. Do it. Is everybody doing it? Very good. So this was the second slide.
I can see?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
see now. That was the second one. And that was the first one.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you guys better be thinking good things about me right now. Thank you very much. You get to tell. Let's give our volunteer a round of applause. So what you can see is that what you are thinking about somebody can physically affect their behavior, can physically affect them. It can weaken them. You have the option to weaken somebody or strengthen somebody. So what kinds of thoughts are you projecting when you meet new people? When you make new relationships? When you are talking to your clients? When you are thinking about your clients? Because whatever you are doing, you are physically affecting them. It is very, very, very important to control your mind. You are incredibly powerful. So let's talk about fear. Because fear of rejection is something that you guys come up against every single day. And it didn't start when you got into your industry, right? It started a long time ago. So let's talk about what fear actually is. Well, the basis of fear is survival. Fear is a survival mechanism. And it starts with a perceived danger. So deep in our DNA, we have a survival mechanism that when we perceive danger, it triggers two things to happen. Fight or flight. Now, we're not confronted by saber-toothed tigers every day, unless, does anybody, no? We're good? Okay, good. Phew. I mean, maybe some, dreams. Yes, dreams of saber-toothed tigers. So what does our body do? We still have this innate mechanism. We still have this buried deep in our DNA because it's part of our evolution. So what does our body do? Our body falsely tricks us into a state of fight or flight. We're not running for our lives anymore. So fight now shows up as anxiety, aggression, being on the attack, right? And flight shows up as depression, avoidance, passive aggression. So unless we learn adequate coping mechanisms to deal with anxiety and depression, we're just bouncing backwards and forwards between fight and flight our entire lives. And it's not even here, right? It's here. It's deep in our DNA. So let's talk about What do you do? What happens when you're confronted by a situation that your body deems dangerous? You go into a state of anxiety or you go into a state of depression. Well, that is just a state of hypnosis, and you have to break state. You have to pull yourself out of that state. So the first question you ask yourself is this a life-threatening situation? Usually the answer is going to be no. This is going to be enough to break state and re-engage logic and reason. Logically, you know your life is not in danger. Okay? The second question, once you've established that you're not in danger, is what's the worst that can happen? There's something really magical that happens when we think about the absolute worst circumstance that can come about. So can someone give me an example of something that they might be afraid of? Okay, great example. That's the only thing. Okay, perfect. So you're confronted with a spider, and the first thing you ask yourself is, what's the worst that can happen? Right? So the worst that can happen is you try to squish it and it runs away. What if it runs away and it hides under the bed and then it comes and crawls in my mouth, right, at night? Seriously, I have these thoughts. So the spider crawls in my mouth. What's the worst that can happen? Well, I'll get a little extra protein that day. Or it bites you on your tongue. Yeah, so let's say it's a brown recluse. We hope it's not that, but the worst thing that can happen. Or a black widow, right? Well, depending. So the worst thing that could potentially happen, if it's a black widow or a brown recluse, is it could kill you. That's it. And then you're dead. That's the worst that can happen, right? It sounds ridiculous, right? But it's true. The worst that can happen. Okay, if it bites me, I'll die. So you know what? I'm not going to let that happen today. And then once you've confronted that, you can take control. You can re-engage your logic, your reason. You can rationalize it. So let's talk about what's the worst that can happen if someone says no. I will crumble and die. That's not going to happen. It's not life-threatening if someone says no, thank you. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, my ego will be bruised. I'll live. I'll have to talk to someone else. Well, I have to do that anyway. Oh, I have to do my job? Oh, okay. I mean, I have to work for money. What is the worst that can happen? So these two questions can be very, very helpful in helping you re-engage in your logic. Just think about it. Now let's talk specifically about fear of rejection, because that is big. Now, fear of rejection comes from a very interesting place. It comes from infancy. Because when you're a child, if you are rejected by your parents, that equals annihilation. You will die. Because we need our parents to feed us, to clothe us, to put a roof over our heads, to protect us from the dangers of earth, to teach us about the dangers. So when you are a child, if you are rejected, you will die. Now the thing about the subconscious mind is that all of our associations, I don't want to say all, it's kind of broad, the majority, 88% of our associations are created before the age of 13. And unless we actively work to change our coping mechanisms, our relationships with the environment, with people, with money, unless we actually work to change them specifically, our coping mechanisms stay the same our whole lives. So this fear of rejection, is actually, it just comes from when you were an infant. From when maybe your parents might have dropped you off at the babysitter and you were worried that they weren't coming back. Stemmed somewhere from them separating you for a moment. Or perhaps your parents were critical. Or perhaps you didn't live up to somebody's expectations. Or perhaps you had your own expectations that you didn't live up to. And so it's very interesting just to take a look at where that fear comes from. And then how do you overcome it? That's the big one. Oh, yeah. I like my transitions. So let me tell you a story. Who has a favorite aunt who's a really great baker? Anybody? Yeah? What's her name? Her name? Pat. Aunt Pat. So we're going to tell you the story about Aunt Pat. So it's Thanksgiving, right? We're all going over to Aunt Pat's house, and I am super excited. I cannot wait to eat her pumpkin pie. She has the best pumpkin pie ever. Ever, ever, ever. It's better than your mom's. It's better than your aunt's. My Aunt Pat is the absolute best. And I know that the food's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. So we go over to Thanksgiving, and we sit down. And let's face it, we didn't eat all day so that we had room to eat as much as possible for Thanksgiving dinner. Does anybody do that? Am I the only one? Okay. So we go over and we eat, and we eat. And I probably had 2 or 3 helpings, and so did you. And then, just as we're leaning back in our chairs, undoing the top button of our jeans, wondering if we're going to vomit because we've eaten too much, Aunt Pat brings out her pumpkin pie. Darn it! Oh, I forgot. I was so enamored with all the food on the table that I forgot about her pumpkin pie. So she comes over to you and she goes, I know that my pumpkin pie is your favorite. Would you like a slice? There's no room. There's no way that you're going to be able to get a morsel, not even a bite of that pumpkin pie into your stomach. And so you have to say no. But you say, no thanks. I love your pumpkin pie. It is the best, but I can't eat it right now. And so Aunt Pat goes, no problem. Then I'll just box up a piece for you, send it with you, and you can eat it tomorrow. Now, when you said no to Aunt Pat, were you telling her that you didn't like her cooking? No. Were you telling her that you hate her as a person? Were you telling her that she is the worst? That she is not good at her job? That she is not good enough to feed you pumpkin pie? No. You were just too full. You didn't have any space for it. You didn't need pumpkin pie right then. But when you have some room, you can eat some pumpkin pie. And so when you can reframe when someone says no to you, stop buying into that same old story. It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because there's someone better than you. It's not because they don't like your face. It's because they don't need you right now. Now, you guys are not in the business where you're looking for people who are selling their house right now or buying a house right now. You are building relationships for when they do need to sell or buy, for when they know somebody who needs to sell or buy. So no is never no. It's just not right now. They don't have space for you. And that's not your fault. You didn't do anything to create that, right? And so what I love to do is desensitize. Just like, oh, just really work through that fear and go and get yourself 100 no's. You're not looking for yeses. You're looking for no's specifically. And you can even do it as a group. You can do it as a challenge. First person to 100 no's buys me lunch. I'm totally fine with that if that's what you guys want to do. Yeah, and you just work through them. And guess what? On the way to your no's, you'll probably find a couple of yeses, right? But when you reframe, the no's become a little less scary. Yeah? Cool. All right, next, increasing confidence. Who would like a little more confidence? You know, we all would at some point. So confidence is a really interesting thing because it's just an association that comes from a successful experience, a series of successful experiences. Does anybody lack confidence in their ability to walk? Anybody unconfident about walking? No. Anybody unconfident about driving? Ugh, someone's going to judge me. Yeah. Was that based on an unsuccessful experience?
Based on I can't get from point A to point B without possibly getting pulled over.
Oh, an unsuccessful experience. Yes, I can get that. Right. So you have an unsuccessful experience to draw off from, and that increases your lack of confidence. Yes. But the more frequently you build up a series of successful experiences, the more confident you get. And so one of the things you just have to do is get out there and do it. And you do it a bunch of times so that you can rack up those successful experiences. You just push through. Authenticity. It's really, really difficult to lack confidence when you are who you project to be, when you are who you say you are, when you do what you say you're going to do. You don't have to be loud and confident. You don't have to be outrageous and confident. You can be quietly confident. You can be grounded. You can just be. You can be yourself, always, at all times. And the more you are yourself, the more confident you will be, because you know people are going to just take it or leave it. And it's not you, it's them. And in this business, in this town, the more honest and direct, and the more you do what you say you're going to do, the better you will be. Absolutely no doubt about it. And then happiness. You got to be happy. Happiness is incredibly magnetic, and it's incredibly attractive. Nobody wants to be around the Richards. People want to be around people who are upbeat, who are happy, who are doing their thing. So how do you find your joy? How do you find your joy? How do you be your happy, authentic self? Well, that's going to take a little bit of introspection. That's going to take a little bit. I know you're learning. That's going to take that's going to take just, you're going to have to turn within. You have to figure out why you're doing this. Mike's got it. He loves to list. He's found his joy. What is your joy? What do you love to do? Do you like meeting new people? Do you like helping people? You guys, you get to change people's lives every single day. You get to give them a home. Do you know that my friend's parents are in their 70s and they just bought their first house ever? And it was her only dream. And she wept. She wept. She's in her 70s. She didn't think she was ever going to be able to own a house. You guys get to do that. You get to be that person who makes people's dreams come true. Or maybe you don't want to make dreams come true. Maybe you just love the thrill of the chase, and that is fine too. Maybe you love the challenge. Maybe you want to be the best. But where is your joy? Where do you get your kicks? And then remember that whenever you meet people. Remember that. Visualize that. Visualize. Remember how good that feels to live your joy. And the last thing that I just wanted to talk about is that when we work for ourselves, we work 24/7. If we're moms too, then we're working, dads, sorry, there are also men in this room, and then we're parents as well as trying to work 24/7. And if we're husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, then we're also trying to do that. We spend our entire day meeting other people's needs, meeting our clients' needs, meeting our family's needs, meeting our friends' needs. Where's your joy? Where's your time? Good. It's awesome. Take some time to do something every single day that brings you joy, that makes you happy. And do it for you. Don't do it for somebody else. Don't let it rely on somebody else, because guess what? Then you won't do it. It doesn't have to make you money. It doesn't have to have a purpose. It can be listening to music, having a cup of tea. Now I'm naming some of my things, yes. Reading a book, going for a jog, not to lose weight, but just because it feels exuberating to be outside, to be in nature. Go camping. I mean, maybe not every day, but some days. You know, take yourself to the beach. What are you doing to bring yourself joy that's just for you? It's so important, because when you are joyful, you will exude joy to everybody around you. You will be strengthening your family. You will be strengthening your team. You will be strengthening your community and the world. It's so important. You've got to. It is your mission to find your joy. It's your job. And with that, thank you guys for listening. Yay! You guys are great. And I would like to turn it over to my friend and my coach. This is Dan Mendelo. Now, he is an empowerment coach. You could come up here. He's an empowerment coach, and he helps people to uncover what's holding them back and work through it. So he's going to give us some tips on how to do that.
Thank you.
Yay! You're welcome.
How amazing is Abby? Can we please give her another round of applause? We're here. All right, I'm going to switch over to my slides as well. Sweet. Awesome. And also, thank you very much, Mike, for having us here today to speak with you beautiful people on your Thursday when you could be out there hustling, making money. Who here is trying to make more money this year? That's weird. Why didn't everybody raise their hand? There's some people like, nah, I don't even know why I'm here today. Who's trying to be happier, healthier? Now, how many of us have actually hit a wall where the things that we've been doing kind of stopped? We found out that it's harder to gain motivation. Or maybe it's harder to stay healthy. Maybe we have to fight for our happiness. Or maybe we're getting inconsistent results. Is anybody here riding the commission roller coaster? Is anybody here living the roller coaster? Or it's like, one day is great, the next day freaking sucks. This is what I do, guys. See, for me, I spent 28 of my years majorly depressed. I actually thought that I was broken growing up. Imagine that. Thinking that there was actually something wrong with my physical brain because it was so hard for me. I didn't understand why it was so easy for other people to make even more money than me, and it looked easy. Be happy, and it looked easy. Be healthy, and it looked easy. So I started studying everything. Cognitive science, that's how your brain turns all this data into actual senses and thoughts. Studied hypnotherapy, NLP, timeline therapy, positive psychology, and even Vedic sciences and spirituality. I study everything. I was studying on my way up here. And what I found, I can't say cure because I'm not a doctor, but I eliminated my own depression. And I found a truth that has since then helped me help other people eliminate bipolar disorder, lose massive amounts of weight without ever going on a diet or ever working out, double their salary within 18 months, shatter any limitation. And I want to give you the intro to that today, along with some tools that you can use today. Now, we'll go over it, so that you can break through your limitations, get even more consistent results out of your life, and start changing things now. How does that sound? Awesome. So we'll start at the very beginning. This thing might be on a timer. Still don't know why. OK, so we have inconsistent results and plateaus. But some people don't feel that. See, there are two major motivation directions, two major directions of focus. One is on fear and what we don't want. Abby gave us a great definition of fear, what it does to the body, what it does to the mind, what it does to other people, right? And love. Now, if we think about fear, we're focusing on what we don't want, on what we don't want. How many of us, be honest, have worked your butts off because you just don't want to be broke, right? Or you go to a meeting and you're like, oh my God, I really hope I don't mess this up. Or I don't lose this listing. Or I don't lose this buyer. How many of us have that? Know what it feels like to have that? See, I work with a lot of people who have that in mind. And the people who work because they don't want to be broke, when being broke is here, when they can't get money out of the ATM because they don't have enough, they work their butts off. And what happens? They start making money, they start making money, they start making money, and all of a sudden the fear is all the way over there. They have way more than they ever thought they would, and they think, I can chill. And they stop working. They buy the boat, they buy the house, they buy the suits, and all of a sudden one day they're looking down the barrel of a bill they can't pay. and the fear is here. And then they start working again. And it looks like this. Or they get so far from the fear, they hit a wall. And they just stop. They just stop growing. They plateau right there. How many of us know someone who has experienced anything like this? It's fairly common. Now, the other way, focusing on love and what we do want, looks like a straight line up. Infinite possibilities. We create because we're in love with our passions, with our motivations. When we're in love, do we need to wake up and think about what we need to do, or do we just hop out of bed and it's like, I'm just doing things, I don't know why, and it's just in motion. And things just fall into place. Do we have to be motivated to see the people we love? You think, man, like I'm really in love with this person, but I'll see them next month. No, it's now. Forget everything else. Do it now. That's how we get results. When we focus on what we don't want, we get it. Let me explain why. You guys remember when Oprah was hot? Some of you guys are laughing because you know the end of this story. She was on the red carpet and someone asked her, Oprah, you work your butt off. Why? And she goes, well, because there are infinite things to do. I want to take over the world. I want to make movies. I want to make shows. I want to inspire the whole world, everybody in it, the people who aren't even born yet. I want them to know my name. And since she was working out so much, he asked her, Oprah, why are you working out so much? And she looks at him and goes, I just don't want a fat butt. What happened? She created Harpo Studios. And she did take over the world. You realize there are people in there who say, if Oprah says do this, they will do it. Read this book. Done. Eat this food. Done. Jump off that bridge. Twice. But what happened with her body? That fat butt came back. Why? Not only is it the inconsistency of motivation, but your unconscious mind is like a 5- or 6-year-old version of yourself. It's like a little kid. Now, what happens if you look at a little kid and before you leave, say, hey, whatever you do, don't take those markers and draw on that wall? Why? Your unconscious mind doesn't process negative commands. Quick, everybody, don't think of a blue bear. Can't do it. Why? Because in order to not think of a blue bear, first of all, your mind goes, okay, think of everything else. Okay, so what is a blue bear? Crap. It's one of the reasons why diets don't work. Because what does a diet tell you? I hear people, don't eat the donut, don't eat the donut, don't eat the donut, don't eat the donut. At the end of the day, you eat all the freaking donuts. And then you look at it, it's like, well, I slipped. Don't eat the pizza. F it. Done. What is that? So when we look at things that we don't like, right, you go to your next listing appointment. There's a difference between saying, don't mess this up. What are you telling yourself? Mess it up. That's why a lot of people, when they go into listings, they say, yeah, I'm confident. Sure, really? Yeah, I'm confident. I'm going to rock this meeting. I'm going to rock this meeting. I'm going to rock this meeting. But undercurrent, they say, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. And when they go and they mess it up, they say, see, told you. Knew it was going to happen. What are we focusing on? What are we telling ourselves? What are we telling other people? Don't forget this. Then they do and said, hey, I told you so. And they're going to say, yeah, you told me to forget it. How about remember it? How about speak with yourself, telling yourself what you want, and only what you want. You want to freaking rock the meeting? Tell yourself that. You think you're strong? Don't say I'm not weak. Don't say not. Say I'm strong. Say I'm amazing. Say I'm an incredible, compassionate, grateful, loving person. and I radiate it to every single person who I meet, so much so that they don't even know what I do, but the moment that they see me at the door, they want to work with me. See what happens. It's almost like the ice. What intention are you putting forward? Is it what you don't want or what you want? Symptoms. Guys, think about yourself. How many of you feel stuck or have felt stuck? Your work cycles and your results are inconsistent or they've hit a wall. False positivity, telling yourself one thing, expecting another. Going in with false confidence. Telling her something. See, the conscious mind is the observer. It doesn't actually do anything. It's like a backseat driver. Your unconscious mind determines all of your results in life. So consciously, if you tell yourself that you're confident but you're not going to get those results. That's interesting. Okay. Frequent worrying. The same negative thoughts over and over and over again. Right? How many have experienced that? You worry about something, you come up with a resolution, you solve it, worry goes away. 5 minutes, it's back. So you solve it again, goes away. 5 minutes later, it's back. Because we're focusing. We have our eyes set on what we don't want. And it keeps on coming because that's what we're looking at. That's what we're inviting. If we believe in the law of attraction, that's what you send out in the universe. If you believe in science, you're training your brain to focus on what you don't want. And therefore, you will see it. There it is. Negative cycles. The same thing happens over and over and over again. It's like bad karma. How many people have thought about this? You say, again. This thing has happened again. I got in the same argument with this person again. I got the same rejection from a client again. The same objection again. Every time I go into this situation, this thing happens. Why? If it's not something that you want, could it be because you're focusing on what you don't want so much, you are making it happen? It's weird. The mind is a really powerful thing, and it could be your enemy if you want it to be. It can also be your best friend. I'm going to help you turn that. Feeling need. How many of us have said, today already, I need to do something. I've got to do something. I have to do something. I need to get out of bed. I need to be here on time. I need to do this. I need to do that. So whenever we say we need to, what we're really saying is that I want to do something, but something is holding me back. Otherwise, we would say, I will do this thing. I'm going to do something. I need to clean my room. Yeah, why aren't you doing it? Oh, because I don't have enough time, I'm lazy, there's something on TV, whatever. I need to lose weight. Why aren't you saying, I am losing weight? I'm going to lose weight. I need to make more money. No, you don't. What you need to do is start telling yourself you will make more money. There's an energetic difference on these things, by the way, guys. When we say, I need to, when we use language that focuses on what we don't want, we tend to crumble. How heavy do we feel when we're worrying? We're stressed out. Do you feel light? Or do you feel like someone is just pulling on your ankles? And when we're happy, how light do we feel? How energetic do we feel at that point? When all of a sudden, we have everything going our way, we feel happy, and all of a sudden we can fly. You can feel this. Physical symptoms: tired, sore, tight, weight changes, poor sleep, so many others. Because a focus on what you don't want creates stress. How many of us have experienced stress on a daily basis? How many of us express stress? That means we feel it in our bodies. We have it come up in our voice. We snap at people we don't want to. We get stressed out before meetings, before appointments. That's our focus on what we don't want. See, we can change that. Hypnotherapy is a really good tool to help you focus on what you want. Change it to what you want. I'd say most of my work with my one-on-one clients is eliminating the beliefs, the negative emotions, the thing holding people back, the belief that, you know, happiness happens to other people. You're focusing on what you don't want. It's easier for other people to make money than me. You're focusing on what you don't want. That person gets all the listings, but I can't. You're focusing on what you don't want. All these are beliefs and decisions that we have in our head, and so we switch them. So the next thing, we talked a little bit about mind and body, right? And people talk about them as if they're two different things. And if you use your mind and body, you make money. But that's not true. They're not separate. It's more like this. When we focus on what we want, it's a whole being decision, a choice that you make with your mind and your body. Your mind and your body are the same thing. And when you express yourself authentically, money comes to you. Make no mistake about it, guys. The amount of money you make is directly correlated with the amount of authentic expression that comes from you. Mind and body. That's why we think better when we eat healthier foods. And we feel better when we have healthier thoughts. We have two diets that work with your system. One is the food that we put into our body, which affects our mind. The other one is the emotions and thoughts we put into our head that affect our body. It's the same thing. We need the whole system to work better. You want to earn more money? Eat better. You want to feel better physically? Think happier thoughts. Focus on what you want, right? That's why I've created a process called something like the motivation multiplier, which we're going to teach in a workshop that I'm doing with Abby at the end of this month, which collapses your timeline. And in just 45 minutes gives you so much motivation to do what you want to do in life that one of my previous clients is actually using it to help people get off heroin. What it does is it collapses a timeline. It gives you so much motivation away from what you don't want and to what you do want that immediately, unconsciously, you snap into action and never have to try. How many people would like to have that burning motivation under their butts without even thinking about it? So much so that you make money when you're not even trying. So much so that you pull people in without even doing a thing. It just radiates. It's what you do. It's who you are. Mind and body. It must be united. It must be the same. We can no longer continue this Western thought that they are separate. How many of you guys want to learn a really quick way to change a focus on what you don't want into a focus on what you do? Awesome. You can do this all the time. You can use this at any time. It's a 3-step reframe. So what I'd like you guys to do, all of you, is either pick up an emotion you were feeling, or are feeling that you don't want to. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, jealousy, stress, frustration, whatever it is. Or a thought that you've had today that is limiting you. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'm whatever it is. Whatever it is that might be limiting you. Bring that thought to mind. And the first thing is that when you have these thoughts, you must remember, nothing on the outside can change how you feel on the inside. We all control ourselves. You all have a choice of how you feel. No one can make you feel anything. You have allowed them to. How do we know? Because you have some friends who can look at you and say the worst things imaginable, and you laugh. And then other people will come in and say hello, and you go, "Ugh." Why? It has nothing to do with what they said. You have made rules. I allow this person to say awful stuff. I allow this person to say nothing. So we can choose. So the first thing is we interrupt the pattern. You have an emotion or a focus or a thought that you don't like. I really hope I don't mess up this listing. This is the next appointment. Interrupt the pattern. Stop it. By saying, reminding yourselves, I have chosen to think or feel this. I have chosen it. This is a choice. I've chosen to think that I'm insecure, that I'm not confident, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not smart enough, that I'm too new in the business, that I'm too young, I'm too old, whatever it is. I've chosen to think this. The next is follow it up. I've chosen to think that I'm not good enough to get this listing. And because I can choose, I choose to think something else. I choose to think I'm definitely getting that listing. I already have it. I already have this listing. They don't know that yet, but I already have this listing. Or pick an emotion. If you feel sad and don't want to feel sad, I've chosen to feel sad. And because I can choose, I choose to feel happy. Now, it's just words unless you make the full commitment to the choice. Remember that there is no difference between mind and body. So if we choose and we just say words, we're lying. You haven't chosen anything. You just said something. It doesn't mean anything. Be responsible to yourself. Make your results happen. No one else will. So, interrupt the pattern. Stop it. I've chosen to think that I will not get this listing. And because I can choose, I choose that I'm going to get this listing. I already have this listing. And then how will you act? How will you walk? How will you talk? How will you look at people? How will you show up at the door if you already had that listing and you knew for a fact? Would you walk like this? Or would you walk like Superman, Superwoman, come to the door because you know you have what these people have been waiting for? They've gone through so many other real estate agents looking for you. They haven't found you yet, but you're about to show them. How do you show up at that door? Decide with your whole body, and then it will be so. And it's that easy. You can use this today, guys. A simple switch. Take control of your mind. Take control of your results. Focus on what you want. And if you catch yourself focusing on what you don't, use this just to switch. You can make it happen at any time. Now, the last thing that I want to explain to you, something to keep in mind. Now, when you were born, this is what I've, by the way, seen, studied from thousands-year-old research. They call it Vedic sciences. Some people call it spirituality. But now science is starting to prove the same. You see it all over the world. When you were born, guys, each one of you was born with a light. A shining light. Capable of achieving anything. Capable of doing anything. And in order to protect that light, you put up a clear pane of glass. And as you grew older, painful experiences in life, other people, teachers, maybe people who have even had the best interest in heart, have installed in you negative emotions and negative thoughts that limit you, that hold you back, that tell you you're not good enough, that tell you that happiness is for other people and not you, tell you that you'll never be wealthy, tell you you'll never have the life that you want, whatever it is. And it shows up on your windshield like dirt. And so when we see the present, we see it through that dirt. And for some people, the dirt is so thick, that's all they see, and we call that major depression. For some people, they can look through the cracks, and you can see their light shining through. Sometimes you feel that magic happen. And sometimes we look through the dirt, and we think that's reality. And we think that's the present moment, because we're looking through the dirt at it. Just remember, guys, that's not you. You're the light. You're not the dirt. You can clean the dirt. You can protect that from building up. It's your choice. You choose how you feel. You choose your success. Nobody else. It's not about your clients. It's not about the economy. It's not about the home. It's not about the house. It's about you. You're the light. And guys, if you want to learn even more about how to clean that windshield so that you can freely express authentically with love, compassion, and gratitude the oneness that will bring you the kinds of homes that Mike was talking about, $3 million and even more, please speak with Abby and me in the back after this. We'd love to tell you about how you can get these results for yourself and use that 3-step reframe. Do the things you love. Do the things that make you happy. And remember the energy that you're putting out into the world. Show them your light. And they'll show you theirs, and they'll pay for it, too. Guys, thank you very much.
I'd like to hear more about that workshop. Just because, the more we do this, you guys, every week we're getting together, right? And every week our lives are getting better. Every week our health is getting better. Our attitudes are better. We're staying motivated. These are the kinds of things I talk about. For an hour a day, try to do something. I would reach out to Dan and I would say, I would like to read some books on some of this stuff. If there is one thing that you learned or interest you, I bet you if you reached out to Abby or Dan, he would say, this is a book that you could read to get more information, or this is a show you could watch, or this is something you could Google, and take it to the next level, and maybe commit. Say, I sure as in hell do not want me to feel like that. I mean, that was such a great analogy that I'm like, I am going to the damn car wash. And that is all coming up. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I really do. So I would, don't be the people that say, yeah, I got motivated today, and then don't do anything until next Thursday. Because I promise you, an hour a day of a little bit of self-help, a little learning, a little education will take your career to the next level. Today we have lunch sponsored by Carolyn and Dawn, First American. Do you guys want to come say hi? You have to hold a microphone. I'm not sure. Right. And here's two ladies, honestly, that exude happiness and fun and all the cool stuff. And I'll be honest. When most vendors walk in here, I go, oh, Jesus. Because they've put that on me. But when they walk in, I'm like, hey, I love them. All right,
good afternoon, everybody. Dawn Zerbel, First American Home Warranty. Happiness is a choice. I firmly believe that, and I've been trying to raise my children with that. You wake up and you make a choice every morning. You're happy or you're not. It's that simple. And I love the stop yourself. I'm going to incorporate that because we all have that. So the negative focus. So if I tell you not to use First American Home Warranty, the first thing that will pop in your mind is First American Home Warranty, and you will write that on all of your contracts. Seriously, a week from Monday is my 21st anniversary selling home warranties in the Santa Clarita Valley. It is all I have done for 21 years. When I started this journey 21 years ago, I didn't know what a home warranty was. Mike was one of my first realtors who came on board and has been loyal to me for 21 years. I love what I do. Your clients know that because when I talk to them, they don't hear a grumpy person trying to explain something. I bond with these people. We get Christmas cards from your home. Your clients are in my phone. They're my people too now. They feel the love I have for my job. I love what I do. If we're not working together, shame on you. We need to be working together. I see no reason not to say that. Do you want to be successful like Mike? Not saying it's the only reason you're successful, my friend, but it's one of them. I appreciate your support. I love what I do, you guys. If you, but you've done pretty good. Mike's done pretty good for himself. If you need me, email me, text me, call me. My cell phone is at your disposal for you and for your clients. I work when you work, eyes open to eyes closed, 7 days a week. Texting is the best way to reach me in the summertime because there's a couple of air conditioning claims going on right now, in case you hadn't noticed. It's hot outside. That's all I've got for you. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Diva.
All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Carolyn Braun, First American NHD. This is working, right?
Yeah, it's for the people watching you live on TV.
Oh.
There's hundreds of people watching you right now.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't say any of that.
Okay. I'll do my best. Like Dawn celebrating 21 years, I am celebrating 15 years this week, providing natural hazard disclosures. And yes, thank you. And on another milestone, we just celebrated our birthday party at First American NHD. 40 years we've been providing disclosures to California real estate agents. And in those 40 years, we've completed over 4 million reports. And do you know, not once have we ever had to use our E&O insurance. And we are the only company that can make that claim. So accuracy and experience and customer service really do matter at the end of the day when choosing an NHD company. And something that just came across my desk this past week is a listing agent took a listing, gets the property into escrow, NHD comes back to her, and she didn't write in First American NHD. She didn't write in anything. She left it blank. And buyers used some other NHD company, and there was no Melrose for disclosed. They said, yes, there's Melrose, but there is not a start date, an end date, a dollar amount. There's no detailed information. Once that homeowner found out that they had a $4,000 bill at the end of the year in Melrose, they walked away from the deal. So it's so important, you guys, especially out here in Santa Clarita, to get the full report when ordering your NHD. NHD, tax, we will provide all that detailed information for you. And so write in First American NHD because that's what you want. You want a complete report with accuracy and experience backing you. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for all your support. Truly, truly appreciate it. And thank you, Mike, for having us again.
All right, everybody. Just a couple of last things. If you want to be part of one of those classes, the luxury class, the new agent class, let Julie or I know after this while you guys are networking and have lunch. What else was I going to say? She got me hooked on something. I'll tell a quick story. I had another agent down in the valley recently call me, and they used a smaller NHD company, and they didn't have enough money with their insurance claim. When you use a big company, they have the backing to write the check to save your butt. So that's what I was thinking. Because it's true. I've seen a lot of things, thousands and thousands of transactions. It really does matter. Oh, that's what I was going to say. We also, if you're newer in the business starting August 1st, and starting, well, actually kind of starting now, we have 2 mentors that are joining the company to help you hold your hand through the business if you're new and you want to work with a mentor, somebody that's going to be there to support you and guide you through your early stages in the business. We have that available now. Don't forget Gina in the corner, our new TC. She's awesome. She's kicking butt. Say hello. And as always, thank you very much, guests, for showing up. We really appreciate it. Next week, we have a very close friend of mine that is probably the smartest person, most educated person I know, with, I think somebody asked last week, for supplements. So we're going to learn how to nourish our body when we can't get the things it needs from the food that we eat on a daily basis to stay energy, mind clear, healthy, again, avoid cancer and other things, and how to detox our body from the toxins that are in there. And then if you guys have ideas for part of the classes, our guests are booked for the next 13 weeks or whatever this class is. But if you want me to say, hey, Mike, you know, Dan got us excited about NLP. Why don't we spend 20, 30 minutes on NLP? Or why don't we spend 20, 30 minutes on a for sale by owner? I'm open to options because sometimes Julie tells me what to talk about and sometimes she doesn't. If she doesn't, I don't mind you guys telling me what to talk about. And the reason I say Julie is because a lot of the people come to her and say, I'd really like a class on this, and we're more than happy to provide it. If you're interested in learning something, again, with 4,000 transactions, I'm pretty sure I know somebody that could teach it to you if I can't myself. Cool? Give yourself a round for being here today. And those of you watching, thank you as always. We'll see you next week.